Y'all come on in. Where you at? Are y'all listening to Tisa Tales? Are my people getting a notification? Oh God, I'm gonna wait until a couple y'all come in here. Let's turn around this way and let's open up the blinds. What is going on? Why is nobody here? It's 11:57. Nobody? Oh my stars. YouTube is crazy, I tell you. YouTube is crazy. I started not to put no caption up here because I knew it was gonna be some mess. Nobody. One person. I'm just waiting. Wait a minute. Let's give us some light. Here we go. We need some light. What's up, Jan Leggett? Girl, did you watch the press conference, Jan Leggett? Because what we found out is that we're going to listen to Tisa Tales. Y'all don't say nothing about my hair. I need to do my hair. But everything was inconclusive. But body parts are missing. Thank you. Have you ever seen a black ghost? Thank you, Angel Eyes. Let's listen, y'all. We're going to talk about it. Okay, there's missing body parts, okay? Now, I know it's a cover-up. Autopsy specialist. You too, thank you. The grand jury. Now, we already know this a little suspect that we have been waiting for the actual autopsy from the first pathologist in Jackson County. They have chosen to withhold. As much as people tried to play Ben Crump and Nolan Wells' family saying, oh, it's probably nothing, because if it was nothing, where's the autopsy results? Oh, where's the people that were doing the autopsy results from, what is it, July 7th, July 10th? They still haven't said anything because they haven't been able, in my opinion, to find a story that makes sense. See, here's the thing. When you're dealing with a cover-up, for anything, where the results are not going to be in your favor, you literally take the facts and throw them out on the table like you playing Yahtzee, right? You see which way all the facts are laying, looking at the dice, and you try to construct a credible story that will allow you to silence the victim's family and let your narrative move on. Thank you for the heart. They were waiting for Ben Crump's autopsy. The truth doesn't need any type of motivation. Okay. They are doing their best, I believe. The people of Jackson County. Y'all hit the like button, please, so we can keep our live stream up. My opinion, to craft a narrative that will allow them to y'all hit the like button. The live is gonna keep dropping if y'all don't hit the like. And the maximum amount of protection against any type of lawsuits, including that wrongful death lawsuit. It's like Emmett Till all over again. I think the wrongful death lawsuit was absolutely the best move. It's not about money. It's about strategy. Because the authorities are trying to thank you, Jan. It's 12 people. Everybody's on some good old boy network. I believe it's 12 people in here. Would y'all be so gracious to hit the like button? I appreciate it. We're listening to Tisa Tales right now, and we're going to talk about it. This is the biggest thing ever, because what we're realizing is there are some body parts that are missing, like I think she said the larynx. I think that is the word that she used. But it's the thing that's right up in here to determine whether or not somebody has put something around the neck and squeezed the life out of a person. And, everything that we know about girl, you got me saying Emmett Till, Nolan, everything that we know about Nolan, he wasn't the type of person that deserved for anybody to do that, to put anything around his neck. The larynx, is that how you pronounce it? Okay, listen. Ben Crump opened is with the family. It's missing. It wasn't there. That piece of his neck is not there. They took it out. Wrongful death suit. Listen. It allows you to throw a cloak over everything, and it allows you to investigate. Now people can't be hiding behind their lawyers being like, well, we don't want to talk to you. You hurt our feelings. We had to shut down our Twitter account. Shut up. And come take this subpoena and sit down. And you literally have to keep your thoughts. Shut up. You can subpoena records. You can subpoena people. Yep. You can conduct a full-fledged investigation that can run parallel to whatever criminal investigation might be going on. Yes, Angel Eyes, yes. Case open, but this is an investigation about a possible homicide. Everything that the Crump law firm... And the reason why Tisa Tell just said possible homicide is, where is the piece of his neck? Where is it? Where is it? For the autopsy person, what do you call her? I don't know what you call her. But what did you do? What did you do to his neck? Where's the piece? The lady that did the autopsy, like, where's his neck piece? Where's the piece to his neck? Why'd you take it out? That did take a lot of money. I told y'all, they said the autopsies start anywhere from $80-something thousand up to $400,000. So thank God that somebody paid to get that done. But where is the missing piece to his neck? Creeping and sneaking again. Love y'all to life. Replay gang, heavy after work. Okay, Rick Rising. The medical examiner. Yes, thank you, Angel Eyes. Where is the piece to his neck, girl? Where is his piece to his neck, Mississippi? Why did it take? And they still, listen, this is the information according to Ben Crump's autopsy, not theirs. Where's their autopsy? Because they had the body. Mississippi had the body first. Why are you taking out his neck, a part to his neck, medical examiner lady? Oh my goodness. Y'all listen. Oof. Went on the civil side, and they have a long thing. The reason why people don't realize that civil lawsuits really does give you broad investigation authority that rivals that of the police, because people can't refuse to talk to you. Hold on. Let me stop. Tisa is so excited, so am I. And his body hadn't been in that water that long, because if your body had been in the water that long, he would have been swollen up. Somebody put him in that water later. Yes. And also since his it's called what is it? It's non-determined what tax dollars go to the police. So he certainly didn't drown. So y'all, if y'all see the live drop, we got 33 people here and only 8 likes. Can y'all, we need to take a minute for y'all to like the live, because y'all like the live so we can stay up. It's important. Hit the like button, please. So he did not drown. Okay, we want everybody on the live to know. Everybody knows now that it's not a drowning. He did not get drunk, fall over in the water, and drown, and then therefore his lungs be full of water. That is not what happened. He was placed in the water. They're getting ready to investigate a possible homicide. Therefore, his larynx, I think that's how you pronounce it, is gone. And see, everybody knew this, because this is what this gave this kind of energy anyway. I don't understand why people be, oh my God, it's so annoying. See you later I'm driving. They is terrible. I know, girl. Okay, Josie. Good morning, Benny. They need to what? Don't you get it? Oh, Art, save me some. What is going on here? Let's get back to Tisa Tales. However, when it comes to civil, when you have the Crump Law Firm, when you have GoFundMe, when you have a public that is sick and tired of being sick and tired, and a public that wants justice, that's when you get results. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so back to, what are we doing? The autopsy. Okay, Angel. The neck. Okay? Certain things were done in the first autopsy that only that pathologist could know. Was there water in the neck? This is very important. There's water in the neck. It lets you know whether you were already dead when they threw you in the water, or whether you were alive fighting for your life. Okay? It makes a difference. The fact that they have not released that, the fact that they did not send the neck back, on top of that, why didn't you send the neck back? People say, oh, sometimes it's normal for body parts to be held back. Maybe, but when we're talking about a drowning, right, the neck is missing. So now I can't see, was there any pressure to the neck? Was there any damage to the bones inside the neck? What is going on? On top of that, the autopsy did confirm that there was red tissue in the back of the head. Again, the autopsy said this is actually very concerning. It shows that there could be damage to the back of the head, which means, were you injured when you got thrown into the water? Because most pathologists will agree. If somebody, a healthy, athletic male who is 18 years old, it is very uncommon for them to die of a drowning. Let's talk about the drowning, right? Let me go through the list. So there's a contusion on the back of the head, right? Also, Ben Crump is like, how did he enter the water? Why is that important? Because the manner in which the person entered the water tells you a lot about whether there
Can y'all hit the like button, please?
Did you fall off a boat? Did you enter the water like swimming in a riptide?
Hey, Nikki Boo.
How did you enter? One thing that always struck me as odd, and with the TMZ video, I sorry y'all, I was tired last night.
We got 37 people. Can y'all hit the like button, please?
One thing that struck me as odd was this, and this goes into how was he entered the water, especially when he can swim? Was he forced? This is a crux of the matter, and it's utmost important. No, well, you saw that video on TMZ where he's on somebody's boat. I think it's like a police officer's boat.
What's up, Chris?
Or the police chief's boat. Somebody, right? He's on the boat, and he leans down, and he reaches into a cooler. Now, the first thing I said, if it's Nolan, because he's wearing the same swim trunks, and he looks about Nolan's complexion and about Nolan's height, but nobody sees his face, so we don't know if it's Nolan. Now, this is Jackson County, Mississippi, and I'm willing to bet that those privileged white kids can count on their fingers how many tall, dark-skinned, football-playing men, or boys, he was a young boy, boys that have the same color swim trunks was on Horn Island. I'm willing to bet that if I showed up on Horn Island for 4th of July, everybody would have remembered the mop.
Right, that's Nolan. That was Nolan. I believe so too.
The mop head was wearing a white
y'all, there's a photo of
you
Nolan on the boat.
Something tells me in that crowd, anybody with that description stands out. And they have not been able to bring forth another boy that matches that description that was on Horn Island that day, standing on the boats. Let's also not forget that there were adults there too. So how come the adults...
Oh, it's her. Look.
I'll just say, I think that was...
I was on Don's live this morning. Me too. What do you mean on the live? You went up to speak? Or you were there listening to it? So there were grown people there too, y'all. Because you think about Nolan, this boy is strong and healthy. So if somebody did something to his neck, they were either really, really strong or it was multiple people that did it. This is listening to it. Yes. I was too, boo. I listened to it.
Well, let me get to my point.
I just finished a couple of clients. So
reaching into a cooler, hopefully for a Capri Sun. Because there were adults there, and I hope those adults weren't letting
not
kids
for a
get
Capri Sun
and do silly things. Because if not, you are liable for a wrongful death. You do have a duty to care as an adult to not serve alcoholic beverages to a child. But let's go back. When he was reaching into that cooler, hopefully for a Capri Sun, he didn't have any shirt on, which is common. You're in the water. Even to go to the island, which everybody docks by the island, you gotta wade in the water. You gotta do all this stuff to get in. Nolan Wells, even though they said, we don't know what happened to him, he washed up on shore. They have been unclear, and Ben Crump says they haven't released to them yet in pictures of exactly the angle he was found. Because even if he was found, and I don't mean to be morbid, but hear me out. Even if he was found like this, right, looking like an extra from The Corpse Bride, that information is very important because there are specialists that can tell you if it was a riptide, what way the tide brought him in, where he was probably at. People that study this type of things, especially waterways, it's not a big a mystery as we would believe. Every angle, every crook, floating face down will tell you something. But what's the most important clue? He was fully clothed, floating face down. Fully clothed. And he had a giant red tissue contusion in the back of his head. That means that he was hit and blood started seeping into the soft tissue, I would imagine. However, let's get on this. If Nolan was intoxicated, who goes into the water fully clothed? Who? Even for a swim, that boy would have pulled his shirt off. It was 4th of July weekend. This was Mississippi heat. You weren't chilly. It's not like the Northeast. It was getting chilly. sweater. I need this. You're walking in Mississippi Delta heat with your clothes on to go swim. It goes more and more and more into the fact of something is not adding up.
I'm telling you.
Guys, as much as them boys in Jackson County was hoping that Ben Crump would come in and be like, okay, fine, he drowned. No. Trump said, ain't no but. Now we got more questions. We on your ASS, which is the most important thing. I will give Big Crump something and knows how to run a show. I'm not going to lie. When that live stream came on and the way everybody was talking, I said, oh my God, is this a drowning? Does it seem like they didn't have much? It seemed like they were like, well, you know, it is what it is, and let's honor Nolan. And I was like, how heartbreaking, but at least it wasn't foul play. Crump got up there and be like, yeah, the neck missing, the conclusion, that, and we got more questions. And I said, all right, Ben Crump, you're doing what needs to be done. Yo, I know right now Jackson County is gagging.
Oh, let them gag.
Ben Crump is keeping...
Let Jackson County, Mississippi gag. Let them gag for all eternity. Gag and gag on. Why did he have all his clothes on in water? Where is the piece in the missing piece to his neck? Where is it? The contusion on the back of his head. Why? The governor said it looks like to him a drowning, so there's nothing. The autopsy people in Mississippi hadn't even released their autopsy. Like, what? This is crazy. Thank God for that rich man who gave them that money for their autopsy. Thank God. They need to investigate the medical examiner. Don't get me on her because I get kicked off of YouTube what I think should happen to her. So I'm not going to speak on that. The least of what should happen to her is that she gets investigated. Because I believe that she's a damn sociopath and a psychopath. This is crazy. Where's his throat? Where's the missing piece to his neck? This is crazy. You're in the bushes. You might as well hit the like button. We see you. Please hit the like button. That would be nice. Let's finish watching this because Tisa Tell is almost done.
On the ropes, but he has to be ever vigilant. Because right now, looks like you got the police chief, the governor, the FBI, you got judges, you got the chief of toxicology. Everybody is trying to make sure that those young boys can go on with their lives after a tragic accident, and their friend magically falling off the boat. But getting back into Nolan Wells being fully clothed, someone that is going swimming, that might be drunk and might be overestimating their abilities, does not go in fully clothed. He had his shirt off. He left his keys. He left his cell phone. He left everything else he had with his friends. That he was so drunk that he decided to be like, wait, give me my t-shirt. No. And that Mississippi Delta heat. And also, Nolan was a handsome young man. If he was out there searching for girls, why wouldn't he be walking around all 6 foot of him, showing off with his shirt off?
Okay.
Little scrawny white boys.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? When you really get into it.
Oh, yeah. Tisa's doing a wonderful job.
Really even get into
I love her to pieces. She's very passionate.
Year old, why wouldn't he be walking around looking like a Greek god around all those girls swooning? It actually doesn't make any sense. Now it gets into, and we'll get into this, because I want to cross-reference the
Can y'all hit the like button, please?
With what actually it could also be saying, because now that we look at the boat, I did a video about it last night. I think, yeah, I did with the tow boat. All right. Now that we look at the boat. And y'all remember when they were saying that the boat was supposed to be, towed and moved around and all this stuff. When we see the GPS just dropping off and all this other stuff, it makes you wonder, right? The tow company came out and said, no. We know we said we towed them, but no, you don't understand. Now that Big Crump's on the scene, and they know that, baby, everybody will be held accountable for perjury. And if you want to lie, you can lie. But magically, once they knew that there was pressure, the tow company was like, no. First they were like, we towed. It was for 3 miles. We got the call. Here's the call. everybody was just like, word? You told them. Okay, cool. But then when Ben Crump put pressure on and be like, yeah, we going to the grand jury too, and we're doing this and that, then the tow company magically was like, no, 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 no. You misunderstood us. And we was like, what do we misunderstand? No, you don't understand. You misunderstood us.
No, not they misunderstood them.
We got a call for a tow. And I said, continue. And we answered that call. And I said, so you towed the boat? No, that's what you don't understand. There was another call, but why didn't you tell us about it? It slipped our mind.
Did y'all hear what she just said?
And that call said, yo, never mind, we're cool, we don't need your help. So, it didn't go out there.
Oh my
So there was
stars.
never a tow, or if there was, it wasn't a legal tow. But then, you start to think, so, is this what establishing an alibi looks like? Hear me out. Those boys are not stupid. They come from very powerful families, very connected families. Judges, head of toxicology departments, governors.
That's right.
You know, all this stuff. To me, and I'm sure they've been Crump, it makes me think like, so y'all were establishing an alibi. You called the tow company. You established the alibi. You got the dispatch. And then before
Thank you,
the tow
Angel.
company came up, you were like, yeah, never mind. And maybe, just maybe, maybe you thought you could get away with it. Why? For what? Everybody on your side. The judges on your side. You might need a favor. Ain't your cousin always getting in trouble at the Quickie Mart? Ain't your son always in front of a judge for, drinking too much moonshine and now he beating on his wife? It would be really good to have a judge that could make things go away. Head of toxicology. Didn't your cousin just get arrested a couple of days ago for drunk driving? Yo, but you know they had the toxicology. They ran the things. They said we're nothing. Do you see how in small towns, I'm not saying this would happen, but connections mean a lot. So the tow company was like, all right, this is what happened. But they gave an unclear story. And things that people know, okay, fine. I call it lying by omission. Other people call it they forget facts. When you are dealing with powerful people, they're trying to make sure their sons have a narrative that ensure they can go to college and terrorize somebody else's son and daughter, right? The tow company is like, oh, all right. It's not until Ben Crump comes and shines that stupid light of justice on them like the all-seeing eye of Horus that people say, okay, it ain't worth it. Whatever connections the judge can give, whatever connections the police chief can give, it ain't worth it. Because I'm not being involved in a murder investigation lying.
Yes, Benny.
It's not that serious. And to me, that's what it looked like that happened with the tow truck. And why the tow truck, the tow truck, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? I think that's why they were like, nah, we got another call. Because before Ben Crump put pressure on, they were fine to let everybody think that they got
Valerie.
for help. And then they responded and they got towed. But why is this important? Well, besides somebody either, I think it's lying by omission. But besides some people forgetting facts, remember how Ben Crump was like, what was the manner he was found? I'll tell you why. Because what actually happened to him? Was he moved there? Were those boys going from port to port to port to port to port? Because you saw the GPS panicking, because there was a Nolan on the boat, unresponsive, them not knowing what's going on, them calling, panicking, right? When they got towed for 3 miles, was it a tow? Or did one of the family members, or friends of family, get their boat, right? Dock alongside that boat while they were out in the water, transfer a body onto the other boat. Then those boys went about their business. Then the other boat literally was like, okay, what do we do? They figure what they're gonna do. And it's a small town. So Nolan's daddy, they call Nolan's family around 11. Oh, we don't know what happened to Nolan. Ooh. Even though they called the Coast Guard 7 minutes before, which, by the way, when they called the Coast Guard, the Coast Guard forgot to say that. Oh, yeah. I know we told you they called it 12:23 a.m., but they also called it 7 minutes before they called Nolan's family. Again, sounds like they're creating alibis. It's a small town. Nolan's daddy, he activates. You saw him at the press conference. That man, well, it doesn't matter if it's stepdaddy. He loved him like he was his own blood. Nolan's daddy, because that's the man raising him, activated like Voltron. This high school coach, is either his high school, his football coach, right? I'm gonna get a few details wrong. This is my hypothetical. Please bear with me, all right? Add in the parts that I'm not adding in, right? So Nolan, daddy activates this coach who has a boat. His coach is like, what?
You're welcome.
No, they jump in the boat. They literally doing like searches, like they on season 3 of Lost, looking for the castaways. Literally go to the island, walk around, look everywhere. Their baby's missing. Nolan. Because what the story they had is so MF and unbelievable.
Oh,
Do you think he's probably being held captive by island natives? What happens? They see nothing. They go nothing. They're despondent. They're hoping. The mom is on LifeLock talking about, please just let him be, causing trouble with somebody's daughter at a house down the street. Please don't let anything be wrong with my baby. Please. They're hoping for the best, hoping Nolan, just had too much fun and he's with a girl and it's fun. No. Then all of a sudden, Nolan's daddy and the coach leave. It's a small town. Everybody knows that the daddy and them are looking for Nolan. And then magically, this is my whole thing.
oh my God.
Boat, which was a private boat that was supposed to tow, but I think was a transfer boat, goes back to that Horn Island. Because now they're like, all right, bet. I think this story will work the best. And they go back out to Horn Island, and they literally do the alley-oop and throw him out there. And then magically, they go back out, and in the same place that daddy was looking, they saw Nolan floating face down, fully clothed. And the thing is, when people panic, to think about it, well, why if they were trying to do a cover-up, would they throw him out fully clothed? Why not? Everybody's panicking. No one's thinking clearly either. Why are you covering up a murder? That's the first. What are you doing? Right? Second of all, why are you lying about what time you called Coast Guard, what time you called the tow truck, and then canceled the tow truck, but everybody forgot to tell us that. Why do you have a missing dead man's phone and keys and not notify the parents? And when the parents find, you're like, hold on, are you sure we have the phone? Right? Keys. Nolan's keys. One of the little girls had to be like, I think his keys were on the Xbox console. His keys. None of it makes sense. But you know why it doesn't make sense? Because it's all people panicking. And remember my first analogy about Yahtzee? Where you take the dice and then throw it out? And you gotta look at what lands and be like, all right, how can this make sense? They're all behind the ball. Right? Or, I'm sorry, the ball's behind them. It already happened. It was not premeditated. However, thank God, I've never had to cover up for a murder. But I would imagine that it is infinitely harder to cover up a murder after it's done than it is to plot to take somebody out. Do you see what I'm saying? I would imagine. God, I hope, please, I am not your strongest soldier. Please send that test to somebody else. Not your strongest soldier, God. Wrong person. But I would imagine. And I think that is what actually, I think that's actually what happened, And, I think, and you guys, I do want to say this before we go on to other stuff being talked about that I think is important to cover, and I think it will break the case open. I do want to say this, all right? I do not have any moderators in the chat. There are a lot of races that are in my chat to harass me, a black woman, for black grandparents, but also anybody, black, white, Asian, but especially black, that feel any sympathy for what's going on in Nolan Wells. I would invite you guys, ignore them. Ignore them. Ignore them. See, the hate and the racism and the slurs and all that other stuff that they was spitting on our grandparents and our great-grandparents, that shit worked because they held all the power. They held all the they excluded us. They had all the good jobs, all the good education, all this, all that, all the power. Maybe somebody that is yelling, go home, N-word, from the top of Rockefeller
It is a shame. I don't know why people
have
do
a
that.
lot more power,
Just
fame,
hit the like button.
way
You're sitting here
more,
watching
and
it.
effect on my self-worth than a bum who's broker than anybody in our family, less educated than anybody in my family, and doing less than anybody in my family. Baby, take your 1940s racism, because you can't be broke, powerless, and uneducated, spelled in 1940s racism, and in 2026, baby, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. I'm sorry your forefathers never fought to get into medical school, to get into law school, to get into the professions. Maybe my family did, and we paid that cost in blood. So what I would say is, you guys just ignore the racists. They have no power. They're yelling. It's like a homeless. No, I don't want to disrespect homeless populations, because being homeless, the system fails people. But it is like the lead. Like, you're a joke. You're a joke. You're a joke to think we care. You do not have your great-great-grandparents' whip. You do not have your great-great-grandparents' power. You don't even have your
Hey,
great-great-parents'
James.
educations, homes, jobs, income, savings, nothing. Get yourself out of here and go get a job. Please, go get a job. But it's too late. We are.
Tisa Tell is
Anyway,
giving.
y'all, what's going on? What's up, Live Well LA?
She is giving the racist people hell in this chat. So we're at the 26-minute mark. So we'll finish it. I know, Nikki, that was funny. We will finish it later on, y'all. I gotta go because I gotta go back to my other work. Okay. And then so I'll see y'all soon. I hope y'all come back for the next part. But the biggest thing to me so far is that, because she's going to talk and tell us more of what Ben Crump said. I saw some of it, but not a lot of it, because I was working on this morning on the other job. But the biggest part is that that boy's